Diaz here with John Little, who's in for David Rankin today. We are live in the Mercedes-Benz of Plano News Center. You know, there has been a lot of coverage, just nationally, internationally, lots of COVID booster news this week. Today, an FDA advisory panel has approved Johnson & Johnson's COVID vaccine for booster shots. And there's talk about, mixing and matching some of those boosters. On today's Ask the Expert, we're joined by A&M biology professor, Dr. Ben Neuman. Thank you so much for the time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So with all of this news buzzing about the boosters, we've heard some interesting news. The FDA panel is endorsing a booster of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in particular. What is your reaction to that?
Yeah, it seems like it makes sense. And based on that mix and match study that also came out this week, it looks like, especially for people who only got one dose of Johnson & Johnson initially, they are going to get the most benefit out of a second dose. Now, the other thing that study said is that it doesn't really matter which one you get as your second dose. They all seem to work pretty well. But the people that only got the one dose of J&J started out with the lowest amount of antibodies after, so many months. And so they're the ones in most need of a booster.
And when the second shot of J&J happens, it looks like it becomes a much more effective shot against severe disease.
Yes, and it really raises up antibody levels. And so it looks as though this is generally going to be a good thing. Yeah.
Now, I did hear personally of someone who actually received the Moderna vaccine because they're immunocompromised. They had the recommendation to get the booster. But this was about 2 months ago, and she received a full dose of the Moderna shot as a quote booster. This has all been on a kind of a trial by error, and some people have been saying it's the honor system. But it's a little scary of what dosage you really need.
Yeah, and so we're in a situation where, from a science point of view, we know that the vaccines are all basically showing the same version of the same protein to the immune system. So there's nothing scientifically different about them. It's a different delivery, mechanism. Do you like your ground beef in a bun, or do you like it in a taco shell? It's kind of going to go down the same. And what the FDA had said about the original vaccines was, I guess, since we're talking about food, I must be a little bit hungry. You can relate it to chicken nuggets. So they said that one chicken nugget is probably okay if it's a big chicken nugget. So that's our Johnson & Johnson. 2 nuggets might be enough to constitute a minimum effective dinner if it's one of the mRNA vaccines. And what we're saying now is that, sure, those are fine, but after a while, you feel hungry again. And your immune system, it's the same thing. Your antibody levels go down, and we're trying to figure out what a full meal deal is going to be. And so, yeah, there are a lot of people doing sort of citizen experiments, and we know that it'll probably work to some extent, but there are going to be some differences. Some of these are maybe going to work a little better than others. And that's the thing that the FDA is there to certify. And that's what we don't know for sure yet. So generally, it looks like it's going to be fine, most likely. But yeah, we're doing things without FDA approval, and that always makes me a little nervous, just because that's what they're there for. Yeah, that's the FDA's only real function.
I understand. And so at what point are we going to get some exact guidance from the FDA when it comes to this? Because I know we've got the basic recommendation, right? And not only just the approval of, the booster shots, which seems like a given whenever they get around to it, but then also the possibility of mixing and matching shots, because they haven't fully approved that, correct?
Right. And so the question facing the FDA is, do they need to go through every possible combination of 1 chicken nugget, 2 chicken tenders, whatever, and a side of fries in order to figure out what the optimal meal deal is? Or do they want to cut the Gordian knot here and just say, yeah, three vaccines of something or 4 vaccines of something is probably going to be good enough, and get whatever is local, whatever is available, whatever you're hungry for tonight? I'd love to see that. Yeah. But it's totally up to what they feel is safe and what they feel is doing their job. Yeah.
This is step 1. Step 2 is some health experts have said we've missed the mark on getting vaccinated. This could potentially become an endemic, that not enough people are getting vaccinated quickly enough. If we continue to see the COVID stick around, then we have to have another talk, right? And a part 2 of what do vaccines look like in the future? Is it going to be like the flu vaccine when you have to take it at a certain time of the year every year, right?
That's only if we really mess up. Yeah, but this is a possibility. And so what we're doing right now is we are letting COVID hang around in the game. And we don't know if it's the 3rd or 4th quarter, but COVID is definitely still in it. We are not putting this thing away. And the problem is that we know that antibody levels do wane. And after a while, even people who are vaccinated can be susceptible again. So it's a window, and with boosters, we can extend this window. But at some point, we got to close this window because, I'm sick of COVID.
It's drafty in here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Dr. Neuman.